Live, I believe, on a Wednesday afternoon here in the Wheelhouse. Welcome again to another Wheelchair Wednesday. I'm your host, Wheelchair Rick. We have another guest coming to us all the way from California. But before we get to them, let's go ahead and run the intro. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday. All right, folks, let's welcome our guest today, Rene, Harmon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I always worry about that with new people. And we usually go over it beforehand, but we didn't have a chance to go over that. So how are you? And we start off usually by letting people know, who we are, where we're from, and how we got injured. And then we go from there. So I'll let you go ahead.
I'm from California originally. I lived in Colorado for about 10 years. I was in an auto accident on a really bad snow day. After my accident, I stayed in Colorado for about a year, and I brought my family back to California.
And you've been there, so you said that was about, what, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
Okay. And your level of injury is a C7, which is right about where, like, neck area, or?
Just below, yeah. It's at the very bottom of the neck. So if you have there's, cervical spinal cord injuries, there's thoracic spinal cord injuries, and lumbar spinal cord injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And so your back's divided in like 3 parts. And so I have a thoracic injury with a T3 and a T4 burst, and a C7 is what they marked me as. So I'm technically not a paraplegic, I'm a tetraplegic. So I have weakness, extreme weakness in my right arm.
Right. A tetraplegic. That's the first time I've heard that. We should have put that for the title. That'd have been sweet.
I had never heard it either. Like, I was reading over the medical forms because I don't know everything that happened. Even though I was there, I wasn't.
Right.
And so I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, wow, there is a name for that. Why, my right arm sometimes goes numb, or I have issues with transfers. And those are the things that you just have to suck it up and do anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many different things that even today people are finding out new about spinal cord injuries. Like, they don't have it figured out at all by any means.
Yeah.
Want to say welcome to our viewers. Albert, what's going on, buddy? This is a live show. We do it live. So if people want to chime in and they have questions that are worth asking, we'll go ahead and ask them. But besides that, though, my next question to you would be, it's kind of a loaded question. Would you walk if you could? By that, what I mean is, if you could go back on that day and avoid getting into your accident, would you do that and live the rest of your life that way, or would you continue on the path you're down now?
That, I would walk again.
You'd go back? I mean, you're pretty fresh. It's only 3 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah, I would walk. One of the reasons that I say that is, I am a single mom and I do have 3 kids, and it is very difficult to be able to work and support and be the person that I was before my accident. So I'm still coming back from that.
Right.
I was a working mom before, and so being able to stay home with my kids has been amazing. And I love it. I really do. I couldn't imagine anything else.
Right.
But I'm used to being busier and working. So coming back from that completely and still finding out what I can do.
Yeah, and it can go both ways. I mean, I've talked to people where, the majority of them, like kind of like you said, have been, down for a long time. We're talking, 15, 20 years, some of them. So the path that they have took, has been inspirational to some or others or themselves, and they just want to keep that, which I understand that. I've only been down for almost 4 years, and I'm kind of, I wouldn't be who I am today without it, so I kind of want to stay who I am. But it's totally understandable. You know, it could go both ways. That's kind of why I asked that question.
Yeah,
Um,
it is a hard question to answer, but I don't think I have found like inspiration with being in a wheelchair. It's harder. My life is definitely harder.
right.
And, that's just stuff that you have to suck up and do it anyway.
Yep. No truer words have been spoken. Um, Dating and married. Let's talk about that. You had mentioned something about that, and I said we'd get into it.
Yeah, I have been married. I've been married twice. Um, and I have dated since I've been in the wheelchair. And I have to say that most of the time when I'm dating, I actually find people that are in other wheelchairs or just nice people that want to reach out and say, like, how can I encourage you today? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of turns into more chatty friends. And that's been really nice when I just meet people and they're like, how are you? And they're just open to being friends and it doesn't have to go any farther.
Right. Um, would you say dating is easier in or out of a wheelchair?
Dating's definitely easier out of a wheelchair. I don't drive yet
Mm-hmm.
since my accident. And so that's challenging. Um, I don't feel comfortable with like everybody I talk to, but just to be able to like go out and have fun and do stuff, it's easier not in a wheelchair, definitely.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Um, what is your biggest pet peeve about being in a wheelchair?
When okay, when there's stuff that I can't pick up and clean,
Mm-hmm.
it drives me nuts. Um, because I do have my son's looking around. He's like, "Oh, my 11-year-old." Um, my biggest pet peeve is when the kids have a mess or I'm trying to do stuff and I get tired and I still want to clean up and I still want to do things and I have to stop.
Right. Because of what? Just being like drawn, worn out. Because it wears
Yeah.
you out quicker. Yep, I feel you there. Um, I've noticed that too a lot. Even doing like workouts and stuff, you can't do as much as you can, and then like just randomly doing everyday things, like you said, you'll get kind of winded. It's weird. It takes a lot out of you. I'm a T3 T4, so I mean, I don't have no. I really wish I had some core back. But my problems are probably minuscule to yours, so it's like, you know what I mean. Do you have good grip function at all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Um, Next question I got for you is gonna be, what is something that you wish you could do now that you can no longer do?
Drive.
You can still drive though.
Yeah, I can. I just haven't yet.
Is it just the fear of the accident, kind of the trauma, or
Yeah, I think so.
yeah?
Are you driving?
Yeah, I kind of right away. Well, I was a passenger. I was in the back of a truck, and that flipped one night. Guy was drunk driving, and it's a crazy story. But right after I got out of my therapy or whatever, like hospital, occupational therapy and stuff, I went home, and then I started doing outpatient therapy, and they got me into a program where literally they just kind of rode me through the do's and don'ts. They got the little video game there where you play with your hand controls and they show you how to do that. That was pretty fun. And then once you pass that, then they take you out on the road.
Oh, wow.
So it is. It's just like learning how to drive all over again. But once you do it, it's amazing. Like my buddy Albert, who's actually watching right now, he's full quadriplegic, and he gets in his van and transfers over into the driver's seat and goes. He just took a trip down to Florida by himself and was taking videos on the way back and talking and just I'm like, dude, there you go, bro. You know what I mean? So it's doable.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of do it. But it's scary to get back behind the wheel. You know what I mean? I'm with you.
And, uh, at first I'd be doing it by myself, but I'll always be carrying passengers. And so that's something that's always in the back of my mind, that when you're driving, I will have my kids in the car. And so I think that's in the back of my mind too, just because it was an auto accident.
Hmm.
And I'd like to be able to ride around with somebody that's in a wheelchair and watch them drive
Oh yeah.
before I do. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's always something you could do. Yeah, he says he just got back too. He's watching. Um, and really, it's if you know anybody, you could just reach out. Like I said, the wheelchair community is super open
Yeah,
and inviting. So if anybody's watching in SoCal, hit her up. All right. Next question I have for you is, what is your pain level like?
I would say my pain level is around a 7. I haven't seen pain management, so I stay on what I was given after rehab and then
Hmm.
Tylenol. So for right now, that's kind of where I'm at. I still exercise though, and I enjoy that a lot. Um, so yeah, my pain levels is something that is bothersome, but you just have to deal with that too.
Hmm. Yep. Some people more than others. Some days you wake up and you're like, man, I'm glad that I feel great. Some days I do, I'll feel great. Other days you don't feel so good, but you always think about somebody's probably got way worse than you. You just got to keep
Yeah,
moving. And if you can still exercise, exercising helps, moving around. And then water, fluids, always, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yep. What was the thing that helped you the most after your injury?
my kids. Knowing that, like I loved rehab and I appreciated it. I mean, everybody there was so amazing, just to teach me what I needed to teach, but or what I needed to learn to be able to take care of myself.
Hmm.
But the thing I just kept thinking was that, okay, I'm done. I need to go home now.
Right,
And,
right.
I have other things to do. There's just, I've had a lot of people tell me that, like in wheelchairs, that it was God that helped them and they were able to find that. And I'm like, wow, how that's amazing. I'm just busier. Like
You
that
got too much to do. You can't sit down and just, yeah.
yeah, it's like, and that's what I like to do. Like I like to be busy and be able to get up and pick stuff up and boss my kids around and do that kind of stuff. And so that's a challenge, but it's something.
I bet your house is probably spotless, isn't it? Oh man, you
Oh
just
my
strike me as
gosh,
one of those girls.
no.
It's like, nope, got to clean this, got to get that clean. Nope.
Yeah, no, it's not. I wish it was, but it's not.
Right. Well, we all wish our house was spotless, but
I know.
um, you just don't have those cleaning fairies. What uh, what are your hobbies like before, and then what are your hobbies now? Did they change after your accident, or do you have the same hobbies?
Definitely. Before my accident, I used to fish a lot. I was really active with my kids in their activities. That's something that I still do. They don't do too many extracurricular activities, but I'm still really involved with their school stuff. Um, so that hasn't changed. But as far as my outdoor hobbies, like I used to go out and go clubbing or dancing and drink, and I loved going fishing, outdoor activities, hiking, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bowling.
Hey, bowling's
Uh,
fun. I realized we could still bowl. I like bowling still.
okay, I went bowling the other day, and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really hard. I kept hitting the ball on my chair, and I was just like, man,
Yeah, you gotta find your way to do it. There's always different ways, so you got to kind of play with it and figure out, you know what I mean, which way is better.
yeah,
But yeah, Brandy, who's watching live, said the pain for her has been the worst adjustment for her. She doesn't take narcotics, and then she's in an illegal state, so it's hard finding the right strains that help with chronic nerve pain. I get that. I'm from Michigan, so it's like I feel lucky because it's legal here, medicinal marijuana. So, but I've never found it to help with pain though.
have. I smoke, and it does help to some extent, but it's more of like an instant thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't last very long. But
Yeah.
I have found with quite a few of any of the medications that I take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you take them, they don't last very long, and then it seems like before you're supposed to take them again, it's already hurting and things like that.
Right.
So I think marijuana for me is more of it's an instant relief, but it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. I haven't found something that like takes my pain away like that. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm on gabapentin, so it's like it's pretty strong. When I take it, it's like a slow release, so it'll come and it'll stay for 4 to 5 hours, and then at that 6 hour, I'm ready for another dose. But even that, people say is not supposed to be good for you. But who knows nowadays what's good for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brandon says he's a big fan of fishing. He really is. This guy, if you ever come to Michigan, he'll take you on St. Clair Shores, put you on a boat right on the front. You'd be catching 5 foot muskies. I'm not even lying to you.
Oh my gosh.
He's been trying to get me on it for the past year and a half, and I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that next year. And it's always the year after.
Oh my goodness.
Next question for you is, what about travel? Do you like travel?
I do. It's a lot more difficult, but I do like to travel. And I have traveled. I've been up to Oregon to see my sister since my accident,
Have you
and
drove or
I
taken a plane?
I flew.
Okay. Go ahead. You was recently what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And I also went to Colorado to pick up my youngest son.
Okay. And you don't, I mean, the planes don't bother you getting on there and having to stow away your chair and all that?
No, not at all.
No? I don't know.
No.
I'm not a big flyer as it is. I don't like planes, so I probably won't do it. But I've just heard you hear horror stories and you're like, I don't want to do that.
You know, there's always like that. You know, when you get strapped in the aisle chair, and then like you're all tied up, and then you got to wait for somebody to lift you, and you know, get in your chair and that kind of stuff. It's like, it's just a pain in the butt, but you know, you still want to go somewhere.
Right.
And so I have found that I flew Southwest, and they were really nice. They had everything that I needed. They were ready for me, and it was good.
I heard they were pretty good with the handicapped wheelchairs, all us disabled people. Speaking of wheelchair, do you have a name for your wheelchair? Do you call it anything?
I don't, and I've heard other people have names for theirs. I have not named my wheelchair.
Oh yeah, got to do it. I highly recommend it. I got my power chair I named Johnny Five just because, you know, I don't know if you ever heard of the Short Circuit movies. And then I got another one. It's Old Blue. That's my manual chair. It's just a blue little chair.
Oh my gosh.
What do you do for exercise? You said you do fitness stuff.
I lift. I do shoulder depressions, and I do my legs. As far as lifting, rotating, making sure that I still have movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then also going up and down my street. I do have a caregiver. And so whenever I go somewhere, like he'll push, which really helps because I'm in a manual chair.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's not pushing, like I try to do it myself as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important. And one of the biggest things that I remember from being in rehab is they always tell you you got to push, you got to push. But then the other people will tell you, well, you got to save your shoulders because your shoulders are your legs now. So I'm thinking, well, hold on. Do you want me to keep pushing or do you want me to save my shoulders? Or do you want me just to work out and then use a power chair? I don't know. You know what I mean? So I guess it's different for everybody.
One of the things that I loved was, you know how women get older, and when they get older, you get like that flap. You know what I'm talking about?
The arm flap.
I don't think I'm going to get that.
Oh no, just because you're moving so much.
Because I have the manual chair.
Right. Hey, that's a pro. I would say that's worth a ding and a couple of applause there. You know what I mean? Yeah, there are pros and cons, folks, to being in the wheelchair. That's one of them.
Yeah, it is.
One of the last questions I got here for you, which I think is the most important one, is what is the best piece of advice you would give to somebody who's newly injured?
That no matter how hard it is, you're always going to be able to get through it. And it's always going to be hard. Like that's just like, it's never going to be easy. there's always things that you want to do and you can't, and it's frustrating, and you just have to deal with it and find ways to adapt. You adapt or die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's always days where you wake up and you're just like, oh man. But then again, for those one days that are worth it, like you'll know. You'll be like, okay, I'm glad I'm still here. I'm glad I'm still pushing. I'm glad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all balances itself out eventually.
Like those things that can make you laugh, you got to grab those things and take them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I try to concentrate on the little things in my day that made me happy. Because, I'm at home a lot and sometimes it's boring,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't just want to watch TV and I don't just want to do other things. And so, I don't just want to clean and I want to talk to people, do stuff. But no matter how hard it gets, you're always going to be able to get through it. I wake up every day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's my grandpa used to say, any day above ground's a good day. And
Yeah.
so I believe that. That's kind of what I'm going for, you know what I mean? It's a good philosophy to live by.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep on pushing, keep on striving, you know what I mean? I try to do something every day, do something positive, do something to further progress your life.
I do want to say, hi, Sam. I love you. Hi,
Yes,
Dave.
Sam.
I have 3 kids. I got to,
Shout 'em
they're
out.
gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, my kids are awesome. That's what I do every day. And believe it or not, they do most of it themselves. Because of my level of injury, they have become very independent and they have stepped up to do a lot of things by themselves. And so, Josephine, Jason, Sam, I love you so much. And thank you for being the best kid ever.
I like
just
it.
got a you're welcome from my son.
Oh, he appreciates it. All right. Well, Rene, I appreciate it. If you do have anything you would like us to promote for you, you can always send that to us, and we'll put that on the description box down below. But other than that, I appreciate it. It was a blast. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too. Everybody else, we'll see you on the next Wheelchair Wednesday. Peace.
Bye.
See ya.